What qualifications or credentials do you even need to become a sewing machine repair technician? That was one of the first questions I asked and started researching when I decided to leave behind my corporate career to start my own sewing machine service business. And the answer turned out to be surprisingly messy because, unlike most skilled trades, there isn't a clear path. There's no license or standard certifications. And for a long time, there wasn't even a consistent way to prove that you knew what you were doing. I'm Lisa, and this is the series where I share everything I'm learning as I build my sewing machine repair business from the ground up. Today, I'm breaking down what credentials do exist in this industry, where the current system falls short, and what my 2026 goals are for becoming a fully certified repair technician. All right, so to understand where things are today, let's have a quick history lesson. So in the past, the only legitimate path to becoming a recognized sewing machine technician was through dealer training. Here's how it works. When a shop becomes an authorized dealer, maybe this is your local quilt shop, or in the past, it could have been a big box store like Joanne, but when they would become an authorized dealer, they would need a way to support the machines that they sell and offer service. So a dealer sponsors their own technicians to go through a brand's official training program. These programs are real and they carry real weight. There's actually a shop near me that they advertise that their technicians are Blue Oval certified or Gold Star certified, which are recognitions from Viking in Bernina that they give to technicians who go through their programs. A technician who's gone through dealer certification, that means that they've done hands-on manufacturer training, they get to learn brand-specific diagnostics, and there's a heavy focus on warranty repairs and the specific procedures required by that brand in order to deliver on their warranty. So this training and certification absolutely has value. Definitely want to be clear about that. But here's the problem, and that's, dealers exist to sell machines, right? And their service department is also there to support that. So they prioritize warranty work and servicing machines for their sales customers. And they want to keep the whole machine ecosystem focused around coming into that shop. But what that ends up meaning is that they're really not motivated to deep clean your vintage heirloom Singer 201 that was, your great grandma's, or invest a lot of time in a budget machine that they might call a throwaway machine, right? Even if that machine still has years of life left in it. And I've heard lots of stories about people who were just turned away, being told, their machine isn't worth fixing. And unfortunately, a lot of times what the dealer means is it's not worth it to them to spend their time on that type of machine. They'd rather be selling you a new one. And that's actually not the biggest issue. The biggest issue still is actually a matter of capacity. The demand for reliable sewing machine service is greater in many parts of the country than the dealer market is able to supply. In fact, dealer networks have been kind of shrinking for years. For many people, especially for those who are outside of major cities, they would have one local sewing machine center or repair shop, or a lot of people relied on Joanne because Joanne did offer machine service in many locations because they were a Viking dealer. So when these shops close, when Joanne's close, there's entire communities that were left without really any access to machine service at all. Actually heard a story of a woman who drove over 6 hours to get to the nearest available technician, only to find out it was a very minor repair needed. 12 hours in the car for a 5-minute fix. And that's just the reality for a lot of people. So that's the deal with this current dealer landscape. And what we're seeing is, this natural shift of more people going to independent technicians to get their machines serviced. This is people that are working out of their homes, or maybe they offer mobile service and are doing on-site jobs. These are people who either work out of their homes, like myself, that's what I do, or people that run a mobile business and do in-home appointments. But yeah, it's a lot of people that are kind of operating outside of this dealership system. Honestly, it's this opportunity, this big market gap that drew me towards this industry in the first place. All right. So, legally, do you need any sort of certification to do repair work? No, there's no licensing requirement. This isn't like needing like an HVAC license or something like that. Anyone can pick up a screwdriver and call themselves a sewing machine repair tech. And that poses another problem, right? Because with no structured path to becoming a credentialed technician, there just aren't as many people choosing this work, because there isn't a clear roadmap. And for those of us who do choose this work, we're asking for a lot of trust from our customers without a lot of way to back it up. As a customer, how do you know if the person who's working on their machine actually knows what they're doing? And as an independent technician, how do you prove that you do have those skills? And for myself, as somebody who's starting a business in this field and want to establish that trust with customers and be able to demonstrate that I have these skills in a real, measurable way, that is both incredibly valuable to me as a business owner and to the customers who are going to go into the experience having a lot more faith in the person they're leaving their machine with. So I got my training through Sewing Doc Academy. When I first found the program, it was really centered around helping people who sew learn how to service their own sewing machines, right? It wasn't really about training how to do this as a professional technician. But a lot of people who went through the program ended up doing what I did and going into business for themselves. And that training really gave me, a strong foundation of skills. But what I still didn't have was a, credential. I didn't have a way to show my customers that I had skills that had been evaluated by someone other than just myself. But I wasn't just the only one feeling this gap. So Andy Barney, who's the founder of Sewing Doc Academy, saw exactly what I just described. There is a complete absence of a structured learning path and a complete lack of any industry standard credentialing for independent technicians. And she decided to do something about it. So last year, when Andy announced the first ever independent sewing machine technician apprenticeship program, I was right there in the front to sign up. So how it works is that Sewing Doc Academy provides self-paced online training across a few different specialization areas. There's modern machine service, vintage machine service and functional restoration. They also have a program on motor service and electrical rewiring, and then timing and adjustments. And then they also have a specialized focus specifically for featherweights and Singer 301s. So if you want to stand out with the featherweight crowd, that's a good certification to go for as well. When you're a part of the apprenticeship program, that really means you're working towards those certifications. And for each certification area, you're given like a list of specific skills that you want to focus on and also portfolio requirements. And that portfolio that you're building is really how you're going to prove yourself. You're going to thoroughly log every machine you work on and document your decision making and diagnostics process and really show that you can demonstrate real applied knowledge. It isn't just a checkbox exercise, it's a genuine record of your work. And once you've built up your portfolio and you're ready, then there's a portfolio review and a written exam. And in some cases, you'll actually be sent a physical machine in which you'll need to demonstrate specific skills on video. And the timeline's real too. We were told to expect a minimum of 6 to 9 months in the apprenticeship phase of the program, meaning like that's when you're building up your portfolio and getting all that experience to prepare you to take that written exam and get that final evaluation. It could certainly be longer, especially if you're working towards certification in different areas. But this is absolutely not, you buy the course and you get a certificate situation. You really have to earn it. And one thing I really appreciate about the way Andy has set up this program is it isn't just a focus on developing the technical skills. It's about being a trustworthy and ethical technician as well. So in order to even be accepted into the apprenticeship program, you have to sign a code of conduct, which includes things like promising not to misrepresent your skill level when talking to clients, really high standards of customer service and going beyond, especially if you ever make any sort of mistake. And it signals something important about the type of community that this program is really striving for. If you complete and pass testing in all 4 core areas, which are vintage machines, modern machines, timing and adjustments, and motor service and rewiring, that's when you get the designation of being a fully certified technician. And that's my big goal for 2026 is to work through the certifications and testing in those 4 core areas so that I can call myself a fully certified repair technician. Right now, I have my apprentice technician badge. This is what you see sitting up here on my workbench all the time. Very proud of that. But hopefully by the end of this year, it will be fully certified technician. If any of that sounds interesting to you and you want to check out Sewing Doc Academy, I will leave that linked in the description for you. So now we're actually starting to see, a pipeline of trained, credentialed, independent technicians, which is something that just didn't exist before. And communities that previously had no other options now have access to reliable repair. Vintage machine restoration is still alive. Machines that would have ended up in a landfill are getting a second life. And the certification program, even though it's still relatively new, it really has potential for a much bigger long-term impact. It's raising the bar for the independent technician community and giving them a chance to prove their skills and giving their customers a reason to trust them. My hope is as this community of independent technician grows and becomes more recognized, that we'll also start to see better cooperation with the manufacturers themselves, meaning more of a willingness to allow independents to have access to dealer training or diagnostics tools, or even just access to parts that are currently only available to dealer-based technicians. This cooperation between the independents and the manufacturers is something that Andy Barney of Sewing Doc Academy has shared as part of her vision. And she's been having a lot of conversations over the past few years to really help move that vision forward. And I'm just really excited to see what the future holds. So thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you want to learn how much money you can make as a sewing machine repair technician, I did a video on that a few weeks ago. You can go ahead and check that out after this one. And if you are curious about checking out Sewing Doc Academy, links in the description. And if you use my code Lisa20, you'll get 20% off. I will be here documenting my journey towards becoming a fully certified repair technician and continuing to grow my small business. So if you want to follow along, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.